is this my favorite song? No, but it would be in my top 10 for sure.
Boy, howdy, did I discover that the rest of the songs in that fucking album are just as good and in some aspects better.
It's just a fucking classic song. I mean, the acoustic guitar at the beginning is very similar.
Rudy, you can kiss my ass. Not on this side, not on that side, but right in the middle. I don't know why I thought of that when you said Rudolph Schenker, but sweet Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, the hairs on your arms start standing up, so. Hey, rock and roll warriors, welcome back to the show. We're here, locked and loaded, ready to blast you with some serious sonic nostalgia.
That's right. Get ready to travel back to a time of big hair, bigger riffs, and even bigger hits. We're diving headfirst into the glorious year of 1984.
A year that gave us everything from stadium-shaking anthems to those edgy new wave tracks that still sound fresh today. We're talking about the year when rock was king.
And we've got the definitive list, the top 20 rock songs that defined 84. So get ready to disagree, sing along, and maybe even pull out that old air guitar. We're about to rock.
Let's crank it up, get this time machine rolling. It's the top 20 rock songs of 1984. Welcome back, everybody, to Rock Resurgence Radio. My name is Chad, the host.
And I'm your co-host, Bergy.
Hey, today we got a special show for you. We're continuing our years. And if you've been watching before, we did 1980, 1981, 1982, 83, and this episode is 1984.
Right on.
It was a great year. We got some good songs coming up for you, and I think you're going to like it.
Yeah, I discovered this was the year I joined Columbia House.
Yeah,
because a lot of these songs and albums were from, or a lot of these songs were on albums that I bought or that I had, and I had a bunch of these this year. So
that was easy for you to say.
Yeah, not so much.
That's all right. Well, should we get right into it?
Yeah, if you want to. Do you want me to start this time?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we each picked 10. We made sure we didn't have any repeats.
Right. We shared our list prior.
Yep, I kind of shared mine first, and I think Chad had a little less trouble with this than I did. He had way more songs than I did. And to narrow down, and I just got to 8 or 9, and I'm like, gosh, should I put this one on or should I put that one on? So this one that I threw on at my number 10 is a song off a album called Heartbeat City. Obviously, it came out in 1984 by a band named The Cars. They were kind of a new wave band, and they had albums before this, and they weren't like brand new or anything, but they were kind of new to me in 1984, and this album was pretty big for them. They had quite a few hits on it. A song called Drive was a big hit. The song that I picked was You Might Think. And I remember distinctly the video of this song being really cool back then, especially. That actually kind of got me into where I wanted to play around with a video camera and record things. And special effects were and the special effects in the video were kind of cheesy. But for a 13-year-old kid in 1984, I thought it was super cool.
Cool.
So that's my song at number 10, You Might Think by The Cars.
My buddy Tim Belgard, who I've mentioned many times on this show, was a huge Cars fan.
Really?
Yeah. So that is where my Cars, where I kind of learned about the Cars too. I never got into them like Tim did. I liked their stuff, and the only album I ever bought by the Cars was the Greatest Hits one, and you know which one I'm talking about. I can see the picture in my head, but I can't explain it. But yes, You Might Think is a really awesome song. Great pick at number 10.
Yeah, came out in February of 84 from the album Heartbeat City. A lot of good tunes on that one, and you know, he had a Rick Ocasek, not the best looking guy in my opinion, but man, he had a hot girlfriend back then.
Polina Porskova.
Yeah.
Yes. Ugh, God, she's hot.
On.
Okay, number 10 for me is a band we all know so well from our hair metal era, and this band is Bon Jovi, and it's off their debut album, Runaway. And the song I picked is She Don't Know Me.
The debut album's just called Bon Jovi.
Yep. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Runaway.
Yeah. Sorry. I just get Runaway stuck in my head because that's their big song
That's
off of
the
there.
first song
That
on
was
the
on,
album.
that's first song on there. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No big deal. And there's not a lot I can say about this other than it is a really catchy song, as you know, by John Bon Jovi. That's all he does is write catchy fucking songs.
Well, he did back in 1984 and on till about 1995, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. I'm checking something out here real quick.
So spoiler alert, have a song coming up off this album too. But She Don't Know Me, great tune. There's a few ones on this album that I really like. I didn't get this in 1984. I don't think this is one of my albums that I got off a Columbia House or BMG, but 84 for sure was the year where that happened for me. And I like this a lot more and more and more the more I listen to this album. It's a little more poppy, a little more, it's not Slippery When Wet rockin' or New Jersey rockin'. It's more like the song Runaway, and She Don't Know Me is one of those two.
You know what? I just typed in, I don't know if AI is full of shit, and maybe you should.
Sometimes AI is full of shit.
Well, this is what it says. A key fact is that She Don't Know Me was not written by any member of Bon Jovi. It was written by Mark Avsek, known for his work with Donnie Iris and the Cruisers. Can you double check me on that? Because
Yeah.
That is weird. And it says the song was originally intended for another band called Fair Warning. Due to the label decisions and a need for a strong song for the Bon Jovi album, it was given to Bon Jovi.
Yeah, Mark Avsek says he wrote the song. That's what he said.
Wow.
Member of the funk band Wild Cherry.
That is crazy.
American
Didn't know that
keyboardist.
until I just, AI is full of shit most of the time.
A lot of the times they are.
Yeah, so I'm like, I just typed in fun facts about this song just to see what it was, and then it came up and it said it was written by this guy. Wow. So newsflash headline, I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
Yeah. So cool. Well, I'm glad, and I just got done saying Bon Jovi's known for writing catchy hits. Well, sorry, John, you didn't write this one, but it's
catchy hit, though.
It is a catchy song. I really like it, and if you haven't heard it, check it out. It's really, really good, and it's on their first debut album, which I mistakenly said was Runaway, but that's a song on there. So,
yeah.
Anyways, that's my number 10.
No big deal, man. My number 9. I did not have this album in 1984, but the album is called Midnight Madness. It's from a band named Night Ranger, and the song that I picked is Sister Christian. This was probably the song that got me into ballads, or got me to, I like ballads a lot. And this was a big ballad back in the day. I don't know let's see where it charted, because I'm curious. It did make number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. That's higher than I thought, actually, probably. Song by the American hard rock band Night Ranger, power ballad, released in March of 84. Second single from that album, Midnight Madness. Ranked number 32 on VH1's 100 Greatest Songs of the 80s. And on my countdown, it falls at number 9 for 1984.
You know what? I never bought a Night Ranger album, ever.
Yeah, and I think I only had one, and it wasn't this one. It was, gosh, I can't think of the name of it. And I might have had a Greatest Hits, but they're another one of those bands that I think, they have some really great members in there. I mean, Jack Blades, Tommy Shaw.
Yeah, who went on to, were they both in Damn Yankees? Tommy Shaw was singer. Jack Blades went on to do something else.
Well, they did Shaw Blades. They had an album.
That's a cool name, Shaw Blades.
Yeah, yeah. Tommy Shaw was in Damn Yankees. Jack Blades.
It seems like he was in something that I can think of. But I don't know why I never really bought their albums. I mean, I love that song, and they got a few others that I can't think of right off the top of my head that I really like. But I just never got into them, and I don't know any of my friends that really got into them either, big.
He was in Damn Yankees, too.
Okay, that's what I thought. They were both in there. And then Ted Nugent.
And Brad Gillis was a guitarist, and he played on that awesome Ozzy live album, or Speak of the Devil.
Yep.
Let's see.
Cool. That's a good pick. And you know, it's kind of funny. We've done ballads episode. We've done one or two or something. Or I don't know if we've done two. I know we've done one, and I don't think that may be either of our lists, but that's a good freaking song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Tommy Shaw was in Styx. I don't know why I said he was in Night Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
That was my confusion when I started talking
too.
about all these guys that were in Night Ranger, but Brad Gillis, Jack Blades.
There you go.
Tommy Shaw was in Styx, and then so Shaw and Blades were in Shaw Blades, and also Damn Yankees. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
You know,
we got that shit all sorted out now.
Yeah. Yep.
That's my 9.
That's your 9.
What do you got?
My number 9 is Autograph, Turn Up the Radio, off their album Sign In Please, that came out in 1984, and the song peaked at number 29 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 on March 16th, 1985, and number 17 on the mainstream rock tracks in January of 1985. The song's accompanying music video also received a significant amount of airplay on MTV, ultimately boosting their sales. Due to the song being the band's only mainstream success and hit, Autograph is regarded as a one-hit wonder, but I beg to differ, because they got, well, this whole album is really fucking good. And lead guitarist Steve Lynch described Turn Up the Radio as a last-minute song that RCA didn't even want on the album because they thought it had no commercial value. However, the band firmly insisted and were granted its inclusion. According to Lynch, Autograph didn't expect great commercial success for the song or the band in general because of their disillusionment with the music industry. Lynch also reflected that although the song was never a personal favorite, he always anticipated strong hook, commercial appeal, and lyrics that were right for the times. And I'll never forget the first time I really heard this. It was in the back seat of Jeremy Hagness's light blue, like 70-something Nova. And he had these wedge speakers. Like, it was like so the speaker was mounted on this side of the wood, and then it had a V, like, so it went like this, and the speaker. And he must have played that song 15 times that night and just had her fucking cranked. And I was in the back. And that's the first time I ever heard that song. And I was like, this song rules. You know, I mean, playing it 15 times in a row, you tend to go, okay, can we play something else? But it was a big song back then. And yeah, it was crazy. For some reason, I think we were in Rolla, North Dakota. I think we were going to a basketball game, and I was riding with him or something. Basketball game or a girls' basketball game or something. I don't remember what we were going to, but I distinctly remember it being in that Nova, and I remember what the speakers looked like. And it's so weird what you remember.
Yeah,
but
it's funny how songs or whatever take you back in time.
Yeah, they're time capsules. So that is my number 9.
Yeah, good song, a very catchy song. I'm kind of with the wiki on the one-hit wonder, but I never had that album. It's not one that I picked up ever. But that song, of course, is on my, my playlists from my Apple Music.
Do you know that?
I couldn't name another song off that album, I guess is what I'm going for.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I got it at home. You got to borrow it because it's not on Apple Music.
Yeah. Okay.
That one and the next one.
Well, Turn Up the Radio I definitely have on my Apple
Yeah,
Music.
you haven't heard 19 and Nonstop?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, actually,
how
I
about
have. Yeah.
My Girlfriend's Boyfriend Isn't Me?
Yeah, 19 and Nonstop for sure. Did somebody else remake that song?
I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, okay. I know
and
that
then
song.
My Girlfriend's Boyfriend Isn't Me. Fuck.
Yeah,
It's
no,
such a
man.
good album. And then the next album called That's the Stuff is also a really good album. That has Blondes in Black Cars.
I know that song too.
Running up the boulevard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're definitely not a one-hit wonder.
No. God damn
You
it.
named 3 songs that I know.
So
It's crazy.
yeah, they're that's a really, I mean, that whole album's pretty goddamn good.
That was
in
your
my
9?
opinion. That was my 9.
Yeah.
So I'll borrow you the album so you can
I'll
rip it
definitely-
to your library and give it a listen.
I'll check it out.
Okay.
On to my 8. My 8 is a song written by David Coverdale. On one of the few... So Whitesnake's been around forever, but it's on the album Slide It In. It wasn't a single that I know of, but it's the title track, Slide It In. One of the catchiest fucking guitar riffs ever to start this album off. And one of the catchiest songs, kind of like... Yeah. 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 And then it just kicks in.
Disclaimer, real quick.
Yeah.
So those of you guys know that have been watching, we would normally play a clip of this song. We have decided to not play music.
Yeah.
For copyright. I mean, it was only banning us in like Russia.
Yeah. For the most part.
For the most part. But we're hoping you guys, I mean, it'll just go fucking nuts and you tell everybody you know how good our show is. And then all of a sudden, they might put an ad in our shit or something and pay us pennies on the dollar. So we're just preparing for that, hoping that happens. So because if it has a copyrighted song in it, they can't monetize it. So
which isn't that huge of a deal for us at this point still, but
if it ever happens, we want to,
yeah. The other thing about it
conflict.
is I think I'd like to see in the comments, what do you guys think? Did you enjoy when we did play the clips of the music? I kind of think that, I know when I watch it back myself, which I don't do a lot, but when I do, like, because I edit it, so I've seen the episode that you're watching right now so many fucking times from editing it, that there's really no need to watch it. But I kind of feel like if I do watch it, I kind of fast forward through the song that I've heard 100 million times too,
I don't.
So I wonder if if we played a 1.5-minute clip of a song, do you really miss that if we don't?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Let us know in the comments what
please.
you think. Yeah. But anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there because you're probably going, well, they usually play a clip of the song.
Yeah. Or
And
let's hear a little bit of that Slide It In, but
I didn't
we're
mean
not gonna today.
to rain on Slide It In because that's an excellent song and continue on with it.
Yeah. So, like I said, written by Coverdale, came out in 1984, Geffen Records. I think this is one I picked up after the self-titled Whitesnake album. And actually, for whatever reason, I remember my buddy Tim having this album, and you popped it into the old Krakow in his 1984, probably 1980 or 79 Chevy truck with definitely an aftermarket deck in there with some 6x9s, and put that in, and you had to put the little matchbox in there to make it sound just right. Matchbook or whatever, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
People who are watching who are of our age know exactly what I'm talking about. But him picking me up to go to school in the morning and popping that in and da-na-na, da-na-na, yeah, slide it in. And I wonder
what he's talking about.
Yeah, what teenage boy isn't going to get excited by that lyrics and by the sound of that?
To the top, I'm gonna slide it in.
Yeah,
I ain't ever gonna stop.
Yeah. So that's it's a
fucking goodie.
Number 8. What's yours?
My number 8 is by the one and only Dee Snider and Twisted Sister, and it is I Wanna Rock. That is another goodie. Came off the album Stay Hungry. Yep, that came off of Stay Hungry. Is written, composed by Dee Snider and performed by his band Twisted Sister. It was released in 1984. Cashbox called the song an exercise in hard rocking. That doesn't break new ground, but does what it does well. Billboard said that Twisted Sister stripped down their stadium-sized sound to a minimum of power chords and slogan lyrics. In 2009, I Wanna Rock was named the 17th greatest hard rock song by VH1. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it is a catchy song. And, you know, I don't know if you haven't heard it. I Wanna Rock.
Yeah, you're banging your head for sure.
It is. And it's, and you've probably seen the video. What's that?
What do you want to do with your life? And that's from Animal House. So it was like an Animal House reunion almost.
Yeah, echoes the line from Animal House.
Yeah.
What kind of man hits a defenseless animal? A misbehaving. What? I don't know what this is. But okay. But yeah, anyways, what are you gonna do with your life?
Yeah.
And then I Wanna Rock.
Yeah,
just kicks it.
And then he turns into Dee Snider pretty much, right? Does a little spin or whatever, and then it's Dee Snider, and his big old fucking blonde hair like this, and the Stay Hungry makeup. Kind of a freaky dude back in the day. Right?
He was. His girlfriend made all his outfits.
Yeah,
at the time, and I think it's his wife.
He was bigger than life in that album, and in on stage and everything, but.
Yeah, he had those big feathers and shit.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It was craziness. But anyways, that's my number 8. Yeah, that's my number 8.
Yeah, spoiler alert, I'm going to save my talk about Twisted Sister because of something that might come up on my list.
Perfect.
Anyway, my number 7. Now, I started it out with the Cars at 10. Night Ranger at 9. I did say, I've said this for probably 2 or 3 years in a row when it comes to these 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. Gosh, when we get to 84, it's probably going to be all hair metal for me, but it's not. This is another one that's not hair metal, and it is The Heart of Rock and Roll by Huey Lewis and the News. It's from the album Sports, and I wanted to pick something off of that album. This is one of the albums for sure that I got on BMG or Columbia House, and it was huge. I did not know this. I could have guessed this. The album actually came out in September of 1983, reached the number 1 spot in June of 1984, and it ultimately charted for 160 weeks. What I was saying I didn't know was that it went 7 times platinum. It had spawned 4 top 10 hits, Heart and Soul, The Heart of Rock and Roll, I Want a New Drug. What's the other one? If This Is It. And then there was a couple other good tunes on there too. Walking on a Thin Line was kind of a hit. You Crack Me Up was not really a hit, but the album, it's catchy. It's not hair metal by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
I picked The Heart of Rock and Roll. I want to just see really quick Heart and Soul was the first single. I Want a New Drug was the second. Heart and Soul actually came out in 83, so it wouldn't have counted for this one. I Want a New Drug came out in January of 84. Heart of Rock and Roll in April of 84, and that's the one I picked. Just kind of, the Heart of Rock and Roll, but it's in the heart of the 6 or 5 singles that came off of this album too, so I just picked that one. If you don't know it, and maybe you don't because you're a hair metal guy watching our show, or
right.
More of a rocker type dude, check out Sports by Huey Lewis and the News.
Huey Lewis was huge because of this album.
Yeah, and I remember he played at the fair here in Minot at the North Dakota State Fair. Yep. I didn't go to it, but at the time I remember it being the most attended concert that the fair had ever had at that point.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think if I remember right, it was like 101 degrees.
Oh, gross.
And they had the people packed in, and they had to break out the fire hose and cool people off, in the crowd.
Cool.
But anyway.
Was that on that album that he played here?
Yeah.
Oh, yep. That's pretty impressive, North Dakota State Fair.
Yep.
This year we have Limp Bizkit.
I will not be attending.
I've seen them.
Yeah, they're not
excellent live.
Really?
Yep. They opened up for Metallica back in the day on the Saint Anger tour. I think it was Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit, and I think Limp Bizkit was before Linkin Park. Yeah,
neither one of them are my jam.
Nope, I know they're not.
But Huey Lewis and the News, the album Sports, was back then in 1984.
And it was really good. Everybody knew who Huey Lewis was, and all those songs, I could probably sing every one of them.
Yeah, I might have to go back and listen to this album just because I haven't listened to it for years and years and years, but I wore the shit out of this thing out in 1984.
Yep. I don't know that I ever bought it, but I knew every song.
Yeah.
I mean, at least all the hits anyway.
Bad is Bad. I remember that one too. You Crack Me Up was kind of a fun one. Finally Found a Home was a really good song, and that was Walking on a Thin Line and Finally Found a Home on side 2. Those are probably the two songs that have a more catchy, like hair metal-y type sound to them, even though they're not. But get the album or find it and check it out. I think it's worth a listen.
It's worth a listen for sure. It's really, really good, and it's really, really catchy.
So that was my 7. We're on to your 7.
My 7 is from your favorite album, and it's by Rat. And the song I picked, and if you've watched us from wherever, however long, we've talked about this album numerous times, and I kept going to Scene of the Crime. So I wanted to go with something different. The song that I remember driving down the road with Leland Myers in the back, and it's Lack of Communication. I remember showing this to him. I think it was Leland Myers. I'm pretty sure it was. But I remember when this kicked in the first time I heard it, I mean, I got fucking chills because it just... Oh my God, that riff, it's just kind of a simple riff, but it just kicks you in the fucking teeth and keeps going. It's just unreal. That song was probably my favorite song on the Rat album forever. Just because of the guitars. I loved it. Well, I mean, the whole album is excellent, and we've talked about it numerous times, that it is really good. But Lack of Communication, that song, if you listen to that as the first song you ever hear from Rat, you will be a fan forever, just because it is that goddamn catchy.
It was one of the singles on that album.
Was it?
Yeah, it was The Wanted Man, Round and Round, of course.
Yeah.
And that one, I think.
Okay.
3 singles.
Yeah. So Wanted Man was first single?
No. It was Round and Round, and then it was Wanted Man, I think. Now I gotta pull it up, but if you got more to say about it.
No, Round and Round, I mean, was great. That's the first song I heard off this album because it was on the radio. Yeah. But Lack of Communication, when I actually got the album, gave me chills, goosies. Yeah. I mean, I was just like, holy shit. That. I mean, I like the rest of it, but when that song, what song is it? What track listing?
It's like 6, right? Isn't it the first song on the second side?
Yep. Yeah. So you flip that over and you get that song, and it was just, fuck. It was awesome.
That anticipation of the silence of waiting for the song to come on.
It's got this little thing like he scratches his pick on the strings and it's just like kind of
right after that.
Then it's just a second of like nothing, and then it kicks in, and it's just like, holy shit.
Sweet Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, the hairs on your arms start standing up. So that's my number 7.
Yeah, what a good album. Yeah, Round and Round, February. Wanted Man, September. Lack of Communication, November. Those were the 3 singles. All came out in 84.
Cool. Love it.
Yeah, beautiful. Now my number, we're on to my 6.
Right.
My 6 is a song that I didn't know for years. Probably this is a band I didn't get into back in 1984. And we just did an episode. Our previous episode was must-have albums. And I talked about one of my albums was a Metallica album. And Metallica was a little too hard for me back then.
Is this coming out before that?
No.
Oh.
That one, last week's episode was.
Oh, okay.
Must-have albums. But in 1984, this came out, and I didn't know about this. I don't think there was a video for this song, at least not right away. Anyway, the band's Wasp, from the album Wasp, and the song is I Want to Be Somebody. And when I hear this song now, I'm like, oh my God, how did I not fall in love with that song in 1984? But I think that, like, what I was trying to say was Metallica they were too hard for me, or at least I thought they were going to be. And looking at these guys, I'm like, yeah, this is probably too metally, too speedy, whatever. But no, it falls right in with the hair. And they had, had a shtick, or they were gimmicky with the look. They had a certain look, and I always see the Blackie Lawless with the
saw
blade fucking cod piece, right? That's what they call that.
Yep.
Yeah. And they had like raw meat on the stage, and
he threw raw meat into the crowd.
Yeah. But I Want to Be Somebody, talk about a fucking catchy song. First single from the band Wasp's debut. Wasp was ranked at number 84 in VH1's 100 Greatest Hard Rock Songs. I didn't know that. Song's title is taken from an episode of Barney Miller, where Detective Ron Harris states that, God, I want to be somebody, in a manner which Blackie Lawless found humorous.
I gotta say something. I was kind of mad that I seen that on your list. I was like, fucking A, are you kidding me? Because we were, like, Jamie and Carl and I were fucking huge into Wasp, and that would have been the song I picked too. I Want to Be Somebody, and it is so good and so catchy. But they're on the heavier side of hair metal. At least that album is.
Yeah.
And another note is the album came out and it didn't have the song I Want, Fuck Like a Beast. So he did that song. It was supposed to be on that album, but I think I didn't read anything about it, but I know they wouldn't allow it on the album, so it was kind of released as who the hell had it? Mitch or Jeff had the album, and I saw the cover and it had the cod piece with the saw blade on it.
Yeah.
And so I got to hear that way back in the day, and I was like, holy shit, talk about a song, And it's kind of funny, Chris, I just sent that song to you not that long ago. But if you go on to Apple Music now and you get that album, that song's on there as part of the album as song number one, actually. And actually,
right.
When I bought it, I Want to Be Somebody was the number one song, first song.
It does talk about that being actually the first single, but it really, like you said, it didn't appear or whatever, but
So,
but that I remember that in a magazine from back in the day, and I thought, oh my God, if my 13-year-old ass had that album laying around on the bed and my mom saw, what's this? Wasp? Fuck Like a Beast? I'd have been grounded till now.
For sure.
I'd still be fucking grounded. But anyway, that song, I Want to Be Somebody, like, cry out, man. Love it.
Yep. Very good song. And if it wasn't on your list, it would have been on mine.
Beautiful.
So.
Your numbers, is this your 5? Was that my 6?
That was your 6, I believe, and then it should be my 6.
Yep. That was my 10, 9, 8, 7. That was my 6. I'm sorry. Yep.
No worries. And I knew this fucking album came out this year, and I didn't put a song on there, so I'm probably going to drop one of my songs coming up here and just do kind of a Hail Mary and put a song from this album in there. So just throwing that out there.
Hail Mary?
Yeah.
Calling an audible?
Calling an audible.
Nice.
It ain't gonna be in this spot because it'll probably replace this one.
That's fair.
Anyways, my number 6 is a song called "Rock You Like a Hurricane" from the Scorpions. Came off an album called "Love It First Sting." It considered their signature song. It was released as the lead single from the 9th studio album. 9 fucking studio.
Yeah.
That was their 9th.
I know. They were out.
And that's actually that's the first time I heard of these guys.
Yeah,
The
on
Scorpions.
their 9th album.
Yeah, on their 9th album. And by somebody who would, like this, my classmate, Sean Lennis, I remember the day I heard it. I think it was towards the end of the year, and I think we were playing kickball or something, or softball or something on this one diamond that is never used in roulette. It was right across from where my brother had his shop. And he threw this in. We had a boombox out there, and he threw this in. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is really good. And of all people, Sean Lennis, I didn't even know he listened to music.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was like, And this song came on, and I just went, holy shit, is that good?
Yeah, another catchy tune.
Yeah. I mean, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun, dun, dun-dun.
Yeah, and you think, fucking A, Scorpions are killer, and then you go out and buy their 8 previous albums, and you're like,
I didn't do that.
No, I didn't either.
It's weird.
They're not.
But I did have this album, and it was written by Klaus Meine, Herman Rarebell, Rudolf Schenker, and arranged and produced by Dieter Dierks. What a name. The lyrics of "Rock You Like a Hurricane" also reference the title of the album on which it originally appeared, "Love It for Sting." "Rock You Like a Hurricane" reached number 25 in the U.S. Billboard Hot 100, greatly contributing to the album's success, and MTV put the video in heavy rotation. In 2002, the Carolina Hurricanes used "Rock You Like a Hurricane" alongside their mascot Stormy as an intro for their team, and Stormy plants a storm warning flag into PNC Arena. In 2009, it was named the 18th greatest hard rock song of all time by VH1.
Wow.
And in 2010, it was named the 4th best riff of the 80s. Yeah.
These guys are German, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
You said Rudolf Schenker.
Yep.
It reminded me. Oh, you go ahead. Sorry.
Super good guitar player. His solos are really, really good. So, I mean, if you listen to their stuff, I mean, and they came out with an album here 4 years ago, probably 3 years ago, something like that, which I listened to some of that, and it was pretty good, but I never really got into the Scorpions.
Me neither.
But this album, and if you bought a greatest hits of them, it would be awesome.
Yeah, it was, there's one called, like, Ballads and, the fuck is it called? But anyway, yeah. Yeah.
Like Someone Like You, what's their other?
Big City
Nights. Yeah, I mean, they have some really, really good songs.
Rockers and Ballads. That's the name of the.
I was gonna say but I wasn't sure either.
That's the name of one of the greatest hits, anyway. But.
Yeah. So I mean, if you were going to pick up an album from the Scorpions, I would definitely say "Love It First Sting" or get a greatest hits.
Yeah, start with the Rockers and Ballads, and you're set.
Yep. So because they're probably was this their biggest song? Probably Winds of Change.
Yeah.
A really huge song for a while.
Late 80s.
So anyways, "Rock You Like a Hurricane."
So side note, off topic totally, but we Chad got a comment from one of his buddies about us doing a movie episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. So in the comments, if you're into that, I think that'd be cool. Let us know, because we will do it. But when you said Rudolf Schenker, it reminded me of. We were talking about this, a few episodes ago. I don't know if we were talking about it in the episode or after we'd done filming it, but we were talking about movies and Hot Dog the movie. Have you ever seen Hot Dog the movie?
I'm sure I have. It rings a bell, but I don't remember.
But when you said Rudolf Schenker, so one of the characters in the movie is Rudy Garnisch. He's the German skier that comes to the competition, and everybody fucking hates him because he's the best and this and that, and he's practicing, and it's one of those like Animal House type guys. The good guys are all drunks and fun, and and Rudy's all the serious guy. And I just remember the scene in the movie where he says, "You guys cannot ski on this hill," and he says, "You can ski on this side or that side, but you cannot ski in the middle." And the guy says, "Rudy, you can kiss my ass, not on this side, not on that side, but right in the middle." I don't know why I thought of that when you said Rudolph Schenker, but
that's where that came from.
Hot Dog the movie.
I used to use that line.
Yeah.
Watch out! Hey! Rudy, your goddamn low-life cretin is slugged. You skittle, fuckayaro. You people, stay out of our way. You may ski on that side or on that side, but stay out of the middle here. Hey, Rudy, you can kiss my ass. Not on this side, not on that side, but right in the middle. Come on, we finish this later.
And I couldn't remember where it came from.
Yep, that's
you
it.
You can kiss my ass, not on this cheek, not on that cheek, but right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
That's fucking hilarious.
Moving on, number 5.
Number 5. That was great.
My 5 is from, this is for sure, this might have been the first album that I picked on my Columbia House list when I filled it out. It's 1984 by Van Halen, and the song is Jump. A lot of bangers on this album, but this was the one that got me into Van Halen. And Van Halen had great albums before this, but at 13, I didn't know that. My first introduction to Van Halen is David Lee Roth jumping off the stage, and the
Panama?
Was
that? No, I was jumping.
The jump, but the keyboard, what do they call it? The synthesizer. The synthesizer intro to that song, and it's all over that tune. I didn't know back then, but that's kind of where they changed their tune basically, from like a straightforward rock band to they're hitting the charts with the song like Jump,
Right. And I think it was Eddie's doing.
Yeah, he was a piano player too.
Yeah,
musician through and through.
Right. So at his urging, David wanted to do more shit like, what was there? Oh, anyway, I can't think of it. But yeah, Eddie was an accomplished pianist.
Yeah.
Yep. So he wanted to incorporate more keyboards into their stuff, and I think Dave didn't really want to, but what do you do?
But it was really fucking cool throughout this whole album, and Jump caught me in 1984, and like I said, I'm almost 100% positive. Like you said, when you clip out the thing and you send it in, you had to write down the 5-digit code or 4-digit code for the albums that you picked.
Yep.
You had to make sure you had all the numbers right. I'm sure 0694 or whatever that Van Halen 1984 was the first one I put on that list.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good album.
Yep. So that's my pick, number 5. Moving on to
number
yours.
5. My number 5 is from my favorite all-time band, and that is Metallica, and their album that came out this year is called Ride the Lightning. And this song I picked is For Whom the Bell Tolls. This is a banger. It's a good one. It's yeah. It's a really short song for Metallica. Yeah. I don't even know how long it is, but it's like 3 minutes and 3.5 minutes maybe, which is like a third of a song for them normally.
Right.
But I'll just read a little bit of wiki about it just because I could talk about what I think about it, but sung by American band, thrash band Metallica. It was first released on their second studio album, Ride the Lightning, on Elektra Records. Also released it as a promotional single with both edited and full-length versions. Jesus, what was an edited version? 2 minutes?
Yeah.
In March 2018, the song ranked number 5 on the band's live performance count. Several live albums and video albums include the song. In March 2023, Rolling Stone magazine, which is garbage, but I'll still read this, ranked For Whom the Bell Tolls at number 39 on their 100 greatest heavy metal songs of all time. It was inspired by Ernest Hemingway's 1940 novel For Whom the Bell Tolls, about the process of death in modern warfare and the bloody Spanish Civil War. Cliff Burton plays the bass guitar introduction with heavy distortion and a wah pedal. There were 3 tracks of the bass that he recorded: lead bass, distorted bass, non-distorted, and harmonics over the lead. Burton wrote the intro before joining Metallica and first played it during a 12-minute jam at a Battle of the Bands with his second band, Agents of Misfortune, in 1979. And the bell sound heard at the beginning of the track was actually produced by drummer Lars Ulrich, striking an anvil with a metal hammer in combination with a bell from a sound effect reel. So, yeah, I'm a huge Metallica guy. I love their shit. Is this my favorite song? No, but it would be in my top 10 for sure. And it's just a great song. So if you haven't heard it, check it out. That's about all I have.
Yeah, what a great song for sure. And it's funny because we, in our previous episode, I might have cut a little bit of it out, but god damn it, we're talking about one of my favorite albums, Master of Puppets, and I started off yapping about how Master of Puppets was the first song on the album, and it started off great like this, and no, it was actually Batteries, the first song on that album. Yeah. And Chad was mad to start with that I picked that album because he wanted to talk about it, and I just looked like an idiot. But man, this Ride the Lightning is another one that could easily be on a sequel episode to the must-have albums. And that song, just tasty.
It is tasty. It really is.
I love it.
I mean, one of the coolest things about that song is Lars's drumming, and he gets all kinds of shit about being a terrible drummer. But then if you look on Best Drummers, there's several times I've seen him on these Best Drummer things. Do I think he's one of the best drummers? No. There's some guys out there doing some crazy shit on drums. But as far as for Metallica, he's the best drummer because he stays in pocket. He hits. He does what he needs to do. He doesn't overdo it. He isn't overplaying. And in that song is a classic example. There's some really cool fills in there that he does. Like when the music, kind of stops and he does shit like that. That sounds really cool. So do I think he's the best drummer? No. But he's the best drummer for Metallica, and that's all I'll say.
Have you ever seen the video when him and James switch spots and James comes back and plays the drums?
I'm sure I have.
I can't remember what song. I think it might have been Seek and Destroy.
Yeah.
And Lars sings it, plays the guitar, and James
I'm going to have to look it up because I remember seeing
something
similar to that, but I don't remember when. It was a while ago.
But yeah, cool. Good pick.
Thank you.
Yeah, nothing wrong with Lars as a drummer, especially like you said for Metallica. Fits perfect.
Yeah.
We're in the top 4. We're more than halfway through now. My number 4 is an album from an album we've already talked about, and that's cool. Bon Jovi's debut. You had She Don't Know Me off of there.
Yep.
And I got Runaway, the debut single by Bon Jovi, and originally recorded actually in 1981 for the so-called Power Station demos at the beginning of singer John Bon Jovi's career, featuring the vocalist backed by session musicians. So it wasn't the band. The first time it was recorded again in 1982, and that was the version that became a hit. It was released in February of 1984 as a single. But before that, it became a surprise hit on... So there's a whole Bon Jovi thing that came out last year, I think, on Hulu. I think it came out last summer. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. It doesn't matter, but if you just go to Hulu and look for Bon Jovi documentary, you'll find it. And they talk about this song and how, this was the song that broke them and started it all, basically. The keyboard at the beginning. So 2 songs in a row now have had cool keyboards for me. But Runaway, that's my number 4, and I love the song. I love this whole album. She Don't Know Me was the second single off of it, but just looking at some of the titles on the album too, like I said, when I didn't have this album in 1984, probably bought it shortly after Slippery When Wet came out. But Runaway, Roulette, She Don't Know Me, Shot Through the Heart, Love Lies, back on the backside, Breakout, Burning for Love, Come Back, and then the song or the album ends with Get Ready, which is a great song. I don't know. I haven't seen them live for quite a few years, and I know they don't play a lot of stuff off of this album, but Runaway, of course, they play every time. And
for sure,
it's my number 4.
Awesome pick. And yeah, Bon Jovi, they're one of those iconic bands, that have been around forever, and they fill stadiums every time they play. But I fell off the Bon Jovi train fairly early after New Jersey was probably when I fell off the train. Not saying that their albums after that aren't good. I just really haven't listened to them, to be completely honest. I was gravitating towards more heavy shit when that kind of came around after that.
Totally understandable.
So I kind of fell off the Bon Jovi train, but their first, 4 albums were fucking awesome.
Yeah. And then it was Keep the Faith after that. And I like that. And I like These Days was good. Crush was good. There's some of the newer stuff that
the one that had the next one that I actually bought is the one that had It's My Life.
Yeah, that's Crush.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good album.
Yeah.
Yep. So here's where I'm pulling my Audible at this spot. At number 4, and this song's a good song too, but I'll tell you what it is. It was Dawkins off their Tooth and Nail album, When Heaven Comes Down.
So now that's an honorable mention.
That's an honorable mention. That's got a crunchy guitar. It's just
not the song I would have picked off that album. But
you'd have picked Just Got Lucky, wouldn't you? Alone Again?
Yeah, probably Alone Again.
Yeah. You're a ballad guy.
I'm a ballad guy.
So the album this is hard. Now I got to pick a song off this album. Yeah, fuck. It's hard because I love every song on this album.
What album are you talking about, Chad?
The album I'm talking about is Icon. The band's name is Icon. Their 1984 album is just self-titled album. And this is a rocker. And I almost guarantee you this is going to be on a must-have album. Just forewarning you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like every song. But for the listener, if I were to pick a song, and this is a tough one.
This is an audible.
This is an audible.
He's pulling it.
I'm pulling an audible because I have to include a song off this album because it was such a good album. This is another one that Mitch and Jeff got me into. And I heard this album and I just went, holy shit, this is good.
I'm not going to lie. I never heard of it until you told me about it years ago or whatever. But
yeah, I will go with Rock and Roll Maniac. Rock and Roll Maniac. So you got to listen to this. So they come out with some albums after this. The next album they came out with was the same singer, Wexler. And then their third album, they had a different singer, and I can't think of his name. But on this album, Rock and Roll Maniac, they're all good songs. I'm Alive they're fucking all good.
yeah.
But anyways, I'm just going to stick with Rock and Roll Maniac. Just believe me when I tell you it's a very rockin' album. Their next two had a little bit more keyboard influence on them. This album is straight heavy metal. It is rock and roll through and through. There's no... It's Up to You is a slow ballad. But other than that, they all fucking kick ass. They're all... God, they're so good. So check out the whole album. But if you want to... all the songs are good. So whatever.
Rock
From
and
the-
Roll Maniac, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I stand by this album 100%. So
Yeah, it's a cool album cover.
it is.
I dig it.
Yeah.
And I listened to it because you told me about it. Otherwise, I had never heard of it. And I'm embarrassed to say that because...
No, there's a lot of shit. God, there is so much that came out in the 80s that I don't know. I'm learning more each time. It's like I'll listen to Brian or I'll listen to Hair Metal Guru or whoever, and they'll bring up something and I'll listen to it, and then I'll go through and, at the bottom of Apple, it shows you things that might be similar, and I'll go listen to them. And so, anywho, that's my number 4. On to your number 3.
My number 3, this is an album that I got for Christmas in 1984. My parents and my grandparents were really cool about videotaping. So I have all these, I found all these cassettes that my mom had. She passed away about 4 or 5 years ago. But anyway, I took all these VCR tapes, VHS tapes, and I burned them onto DVDs. And so all these home videos, I think it's 47 discs, DVDs worth that I downloaded, or not downloaded, but I converted to DVD, and then I burned copies and sent them out to all my siblings for Christmas that year.
That is really
super
freaking cool.
But I just happened to remember one of them is Christmas 1984. And there's little old nerdy me, 13, skinny, blonde-haired kid. And I'm opening up, and I got Stay Hungry from Twisted Sister. And I don't know if I don't remember if I got a boombox or something that year, or maybe I had it from before, but man, that tape went in that player quick, like.
Yeah. And
the song I picked off of it is We're Not Gonna Take It. I think that was their first single off that album. Yeah. And then I Wanna Rock, which you had, was the next one. Now, before that, it was from the previous album.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, looks like there's one. No.
Yeah. Anyway, it's funny because I'm going to read just a quick thing about Wikipedia, or what it says on Wikipedia.
I'm sure that has to be in I can see it from here.
This here?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's so wrong. And this album has so much more to it, actually.
Yeah.
But song sung by heavy metal band Twisted Sister on their album Stay Hungry, released as a single with You Can't Stop Rock and Roll as the B-side. The single reached number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100, making it Twisted Sister's only top 40 single, band's highest selling single in the United States, certified gold on June 3rd, 2009, for sales of over 500,000 units. That's the single we're talking about. Song ranked 47 on 100 Greatest 80s Songs and number 21 on VH1's 100 Greatest One-Hit Wonders of the 80s. In 85, it received criticism when the Parents Music Resource Center included this song on its Filthy 15 list for alleged violent lyrical content, allegations that were repudiated by lead singer Dee Snider. And you can say what you want about Dee Snider, but when him and some of the other guys that came up before Congress and this committee or whatever that Tipper Gore ran, the whole reason why we had labels on albums to tell us which ones to buy.
Exactly what I was just going to say.
Actually, they were explicit content, whatever, warning labels.
Parental advisory.
But when he talked at that committee, like, you can find it. You can find it on YouTube. Just search Dee Snider, PMRC, testify or testimony or whatever.
Yeah. And
he just fucking mic dropped their ass, and that was it.
100% agree. I remember that too, and it gave me a whole new respect for Dee Snider. He's a very intelligent guy.
Yep, and eloquent. You look at him and you think, this is just a dumb rock star. That's what these people thought. And when he started talking, he
put him right,
blew him away.
Yeah, it was awesome, to say the least. Twisted Sister was never a band that I got really into. But I did respect him for that. And God, I watched a documentary on them. and they were huge on the East Coast where they were at, and they played the biggest clubs, and I really liked that documentary. So if you got a chance, just go out and check it out. And they put in the fucking work. D was very driven, and he got them to be what they were.
Yeah,
I mean, they were road dogs. They really worked at it and struggled to get going. And I'm glad that they made it because he was good. And a little known. And now, like, they came out with "Come Out and Play" after that, which was terrible.
See, I didn't hate it, and
it was okay.
I had that, and "Love Is for Suckers."
That one I was just gonna say was surprisingly good to me.
Yeah.
So craziness.
Yeah, the "Come Out and Play." They had the leader of the pack, the old '50s song. I can't remember who does it or whatever. So I enjoyed it back then, but looking back, it was kind of cheese ball. But one thing about "We're Not Gonna Take It," I remember my grandma, saying, I really kind of like that song, "We're Not Going Naked." Well, no, Grandma, it's "We're Not Gonna Take It." Oh, I thought it was "We're Not Going Naked Anymore." It's kind of a, good thing to talk about. But, anyway, that was my number, 3?
Yep.
"We're Not Gonna Take It," Twisted Sister. Love it.
My number 3 is... We had talked about this album previously. Chris just had it on his list for a song called "Jump," and that's Van Halen's 1984 album, and this is my favorite. I'm pretty sure this is my very favorite Van Halen song. And the song is called "Drop Dead Legs." I love this song, and there's no fucking, information on it.
That's because it wasn't a single, at least not in the U.S. It might have been a B-side on the U.K. version of Panama or something like that, if I remember from what I was reading.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because AI's being a piece of shit right now. And I looked it up the other day, and I put in my notes, just say what AI says. Well, now it's not saying anything. It won't give me any info. And there were some kind of cool little nuggets in there.
Yeah. That song has got such a cool,
the guitar in it.
Feel to it.
Yeah, it's just a slow... and he said the song that inspired Drop Dead Legs was "Back in Black."
Oh, I can see that. Let you say that.
And it's crazy to me and why I can't find any info on it. I know what I did, I think.
This is one that, we're not playing the music anymore, but just the start. If you pause the video, throw it in, and turn it up really loud. It just bumps your speakers, hits you right in the chest.
Let me just see something.
Okay.
A song from their 84 album was inspired by Calvin Klein ad featuring women in men's underwear, and the song's guitar solo was inspired by Alan Holdsworth. Here are some fun facts. It said it was inspired by "Back in Black." Oh, here we go. Eddie Van Halen revealed that the title track "Back in Black" by AC/DC was the inspiration for "Drop Dead Legs." And that's a good song too.
I remember this. Read that thing.
To promote the album, Van Halen ran a contest on MTV called "Lost Weekend with Van Halen," where fans mailed over 1 million postcards to MTV.
I remember that, oddly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But if you haven't heard this song, the whole album is excellent. But if you like the way Eddie plays, this riff that he plays on this song is my favorite guitar riff by Eddie Van Halen. It's just something about it, and I tried to learn it on guitar, even with the YouTube cheating. It's still a pain in my fucking ass. I still haven't. I would have to sit down and do it for probably several hours to get it, because it's one of those. It's hard to play for me anyway, because I'm not that good. But man, I love that song, and I'm gonna say to myself right now, I'm going to figure that goddamn song out with the help of YouTube, obviously. before I'm dead.
Yeah.
So,
well, hopefully you
note
got
to self.
Hopefully you got lots of time.
I hope so too. Anyways, that is my number 3. On to your number 2.
I'm going to keep my number 2 really brief because we've talked about this band and this album so many times. It was on our very first episode. But my number 2, and I did put these in somewhat order, and it could have easily been number 1 for 1984, but it's another one of those that I picked up probably. I really kind of feel like I got this for my birthday, and if I didn't, I for sure got it on Columbia House or BMG, and it's Rat, Out of the Cellar, and the song is Round and Round because it was the single. It was the song that I heard that I gotta have it. I gotta be able to listen to it as many times as I want. So I gotta have it on cassette. You know, prior to having a music collection on cassette or CD or whatever album, you know, if you're old, really old fuck, you had it on 8-track or 8 tracks. I don't know if this came out on 8-track. But anyway, before that, you had to, you know, I'd listen to the radio because they played it so much. I could, you know, when I hear the opening, I could hit record on my little tape player and I have a copy of it.
Things we had to do back in the day.
And listen to it as many, but I had to get this album so I could listen to it as many times as I wanted. And boy, howdy, did I discover that the rest of the songs in that fucking album are just as good and in some aspects better.
Right.
The whole album kicks ass. I said I was going to keep it brief. My number 2 is Round and Round from Rat, Out of the Cellar, 1984. Fucking good year.
And I'll keep it brief and just say what he said.
All right.
Great song. My number 2 is from the hottest band in the... Isn't that what they said?
Yeah.
The hottest band in the world.
Hottest band in the land.
In the land. Before every concert, some guy would come on and say, "Are you ready for the hottest band in the world? Kiss."
Yep.
And the album came off of his Animalize. And the song, of course, is Heaven's on Fire.
Yeah. Can't believe I didn't pick this song.
And it is such a good fucking song. And it sounds good in the stereo. I'm still a kid. I put subwoofers in my pickup. I'm still a kid, and I like my music loud.
Yeah.
That's just the way I am. And my wife has moved on. She doesn't care if it's loud. I do.
I know. And my wife's in the truck with me. I cannot listen to my music loud because she's always reaching over and turning that shit down.
I know. My wife will let me turn it up, but she'll have none of that in her car. You know, I mean,
yeah.
She's got a terrible stereo in there, and I keep wanting to put subs in there, but she wouldn't let me do it. Anyways, Heaven's on Fire is a song by American rock band Kiss, written by vocalist, guitarist Paul Stanley and songwriter Desmond Child. It was the first single released by the group's from the group's 1984 album Animalize. The opening "Woo" was a vocal warm-up by Stanley that was accidentally recorded but was later added to the song. And I can't imagine that without that.
No,
that's so cool.
It's killer.
Released as a single internationally in 1984, Heaven's on Fire charted in several countries, even though it failed to reach the top 10 in any of the countries where it was released as a single. It did reach number 11 on Billboard's Hot Mainstream Rock Tracks and number 49 on the Billboard Hot 100. In addition, the song was one of the only a select few from the band's non-makeup era that has been performed live after the band returned to wearing makeup. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like they don't play Lick It Up?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
So that's kind of crazy. But anyways, yeah, if you haven't heard this song, you're missing out because it is great. There's some other great songs on there on that album, but the one I picked was Heaven's on Fire.
Man, yeah, just a good tune all the way around. There's another back to my home videos thing. There's a video of me and my buddy Tim. Side thing, if you haven't seen this guy, check him out. But there's a guy I discovered him on Facebook. His name is Paul Petrosky. And he goes by Weird Paul Petrosky. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But he's like our age, and he did this dumb shit all the time back in the 80s. But he him and his sister like picked up the tennis rackets and sang along to the radio, and they recorded it. And it's like I watch it and I'm like, me and my buddy Tim used to do that dumb shit all the time when we were kids.
Yeah.
And he's super embarrassed about it. Like, I broke it out one time when he was over with his wife, and my wife and his wife just got a fucking kick out of it, and they loved watching it, and it was funny. And Tim's just like, oh, I can't believe we fucking brought this out and showing these fucking this shit.
Oh.
But there's a video that we did for Heaven's on Fire. And
really?
Yeah, and it's in his bedroom, and he's got... He lived in this older house with the slanted ceilings.
Yeah.
So his room was in the far upstairs, and he had a bed in the corner, like underneath there. And here it is. Here's how it starts out. He's got a lighter in his hand, and the Paul Stanley vocal warm up thing.
Yeah.
He's got the lighter right up to the camera, like this, and he's this, and then he's got the tennis racket and hits the note from the album, and it's like, it's corny as fuck, but man, we did all kinds of dumb shit like that back in the day. But that's
funny,
my memory of that song. Yeah.
Cool. Well, should we go on to your number one?
Yeah, we can.
Let's do it.
Okay, so my number one, and this kept Rat out of the cellar off for me, and I don't Round and Round, I don't know. But it's a song by Prince, and the song I picked is Let's Go Crazy. In the whole, at the beginning of the song, Dearly Beloved, we're gathered here today to get to this thing called life. Electric word, life, that means forever, and that's a mighty long time. But I'm here to tell you, there's something else. And it goes on, and I could recite the whole fucking thing. I could. I don't have any notes about it. I picked this song because the first song off that album that was a single was When Doves Cry.
Mm-hmm.
And then the movie came out that summer, and it was kind of a big deal. I had to have a song off this album, and there's so many good ones. Purple Rain crossed my mind as that should be the song. I think out of all the songs, it might be the best.
That's the one I would have picked.
But the reason I picked Let's Go Crazy is, it's the first song on the album. So when you first pop that cassette in, that's what you hear is the Dearly Beloved. And then the guitar riffs in that song are way more like our hair metal stuff, or like and Prince is an unbelievable musician and guitar player and singer and everything. I mean, the guy could play every fucking instrument on the album, and he did on a lot of his albums, played every fucking thing there was and sung, and then put it all together in the studio. But this album, this is what got me into Prince. I went back and I literally have every fucking Prince album there is. None of them are, well, I shouldn't say none of them, but most of them aren't near as good as Purple Rain. Purple Rain is just, it's something up there. I can't really explain it, but 13 times platinum. And all the songs, there's only 8 songs on the album, if I remember right.
They're all pretty good.
They are. They're all really good. Let's Go Crazy, Beautiful Ones, Computer Blue, Darling Nikki. Everybody thought that song's funny, whatever. As a 13-year-old kid, I knew a girl named Nikki. Anyway, you know the story. When Doves Cry, side 2, I Would Die for You, Baby, I'm a Star, and it ends with Purple Rain. Just a good album, and I had to have something off of it, and I picked Let's Go Crazy. So
I would have picked Purple Rain, and I thought about doing that as my number one, but I just didn't. And that is a fucking stellar album. Let's Go Crazy is a great song. I mean, when you started doing that, I just, in my head, I'm reading it off too. I don't think I could do it verbatim. I don't think I could. But when you're doing it, I can go along with it.
You're thinking of it.
Yeah, I can go along with it. But if I had to do it on my own, there's no fucking way. But great pick. Prince is just, we've talked about it a million times. He's one of those guys that I just pisses me off that I never got to see him live. And there's not a lot of live stuff on YouTube,
No.
which sucks. So, very, very good pick. Very good pick.
What do you got for your number one?
Well, I told you I have 2 songs off one album. I'm sure that most people that know me would guess what band that is, and that is Metallica. And the album, we talked about it already, is Ride the Lightning. And the song I picked for number 1 is Fade to Black, because it is one of my favorites. Master of Puppets is right up there. This is right up there. Seek and Destroy is right up there. Those 3, I think, are my 3 favorite Metallica songs. So, and Fade to Black is one of those goddamn songs that it's kind of here, and I'm going to read you a little bit off of Wikipedia because it's kind of right. Fade to Black is a song and the first power ballad. They call it a power ballad.
Yeah.
By the American heavy metal band Metallica. Released as the first promotional single from their second studio album, Ride the Lightning, the song was ranked as having the 24th best guitar solo ever by Guitar World readers. The song peaked at number 100 on the Swiss singles charts in 2008. The song is certified gold by the record RIAA. In March 2023, Rolling Stone ranked Fade to Black at number 35 on their 100 greatest heavy metal songs of all time. A little background on it: in an interview on the set of the production MTV icon Metallica, in 2003, drummer Lars Ulrich recalls how he and vocalist rhythm guitarist James Hetfield were obsessed with death at the time the album and song were produced. Hetfield later admitted that a break-in into their gear truck resulting in the loss of his favorite Marshall amplifier also contributed to the mood of the song. The song lyrics address suicidal feelings. It begins with an acoustic guitar introduction and becomes progressively heavier as the song goes on, similar to their future songs Welcome Home Sanitarium and One and The Day That Never Comes. James Hetfield commented on the song in a 1991 interview with Guitar World. The song was a big step for us. It was pretty much our first ballad, so we knew it would freak people out. Recording that song, I learned how frustrating acoustic guitar can be. You could hear every squeak, so I had to be careful. I wrote the song at a friend's house in New Jersey. I was pretty depressed at the time because our gear had just been stolen. We had been thrown out of our manager's house for breaking shit and drinking his liquor cabinet dry. It's a suicide song, and we got a lot of flack for that, as if kids were killing themselves because of our song. But we also got hundreds of letters from kids telling us how they related to the song and that it made them feel better. And I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking classic song. I mean, the acoustic guitar at the beginning is very similar. The chords are the same as One. You know, the beginning. Okay, if you do One, it's do 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 do. It's the same exact fucking notes. But I mean, the part that got me always on this song is the. I love that. Crescendo.
Yeah.
Fuck. I
Great
just,
tune.
you know, and in Metallica fashion, there's like several different riffs in this song. You know, there's the acoustic part. There's the part I just did. There's another part at the end that's really awesome. I mean, it's just a great, great song. And like I said, me being a fan of Metallica all these years, I pretty much know all their shit. You know, there's some obscure stuff that they've done that I probably don't have. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
I will buy all their studio albums. I don't buy the one-offs and this and that or singles, and I don't do that. I don't know. I've never have, just never, you know, I mean, if they release an EP, of course, like the 598 EP, I bought that right away.
Mm-hmm.
But they're that band for me. They're the pinnacle for me. So this being one of my top 3 favorite Metallica songs. Matter of fact, I got Fade to Black on as a license plate on one of my vehicles. So
Was the vehicle black?
Originally,
Yeah.
But I went through so many vehicles
Yeah.
that now it's on a gray Toyota Tundra.
Well, it's fading. It's
Yeah,
working
yeah.
its way to black.
Yeah. So, anyways, that song just does it for me.
Yeah, I love that song too. And when you were doing the dun dun dun, I mean, I can just hear it in my head. And yeah, good. And being a ballad, I don't know if you call it that, but whatever. It definitely is a slower tempo, and man, it's a really good song. And that whole album is great.
It really is. I mean, I think I read somewhere where they considered Ride the Lightning one of the best ever thrash metal albums.
Yeah. But I don't feel like it feels like thrash to me.
You know,
in my opinion.
It's kind of weird. I go back and forth on that. Whether, you know, I mean, they were thrash, but it was, I don't know. There's something like thrash. Metallica's always had like a normal drum beat. They never did the, you know, really fast shit.
Yeah.
Which is why I really always like them.
Yeah.
Well, you know, because there's some of the stuff that I just couldn't get into that does all that really fast drumming shit. I like my stuff to have a beat that you can tap your foot to or bob your head, bang your head to. Like when it goes like super fast, I never really got into that stuff.
Right.
So that was my number one, your number one. That's pretty much it.
That is pretty much it. Those are our 20 songs we picked for 1984. Next up in that series is, of course, 1985.
Yep. And I'm trying to think off the top of my head if I can think of anything that came out in 85, but I can't really think. I think.
I can. Did you have any honorable mentions? I know we had the one, you know, from Dokken that you called an audible on, and you know, you said you had so many songs on your.
I did, but I didn't write them down.
Yeah, you narrowed them down, and
you know, there was. I know there was the Dio, The Last in Line came up. I liked that song. There were some other songs, We Rock, on that album that was really good. But I didn't write them down.
Yeah.
But there was quite a few out there. But none that I can think of off the top of my head. Because normally if I do honorable mentions, I write them down. But I didn't even think to do that.
Yeah.
I could quick.
Well, yeah, I had, I'm going to go through the top 100. I'm not going to go through the whole top 100, but I'm just going to, Footloose was a big deal then.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pick anything off of, because
Ghostbusters.
Like there's a 1984 Rock on an Apple.
Yep.
Like Rebel Yell.
Yeah.
But that was, I think we had that on 83 because the album came out in 83. There's like off of the Wasp album, Love Machine. Into the Fire was a really cool slow song. Tormentor was a good song. Another Born in the USA came out that year.
Legs, ZZ Top. I'm just going through some of the more poppy stuff.
Yeah.
Madonna kind of broke that year. Lucky Star.
It says VOA from Sammy Hagar came out that year. VOA.
Voice of America.
Yeah. I Can't Drive 55.
Yep.
That would have been a good one. Boys of Summer by Don Henley came out that year. Oh Sherry by Steve Perry.
Yep. Rock Me
On the
Tonight,
Dark
Billy
Side by
Squire.
John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band is a great song. Some other shit here. Authority song by John Mellencamp.
Remember Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell?
Yep. How come I feel like somebody's watching me? Or
Sunglasses at Night, Corey Hart.
Yeah. Mama, We're All Crazy Now.
Yeah.
I already said Last in Line by Dio.
Lionel Richie had some songs on here.
Michael
Jackson's Thriller.
Yep. Up Around the Bend by Hanoi Rocks.
Yeah.
Cover song.
I really like that tune for a cover.
Yep. So, I mean, there's some songs out there that, we could have definitely, and I know you guys probably know there's some songs we missed. You can certainly throw those in the comments.
Please do.
Yeah, and you can check out our stuff. We have some merch that's in the comments as well. All our links to our socials are in there. So do the normal like, subscribe, all that stuff. Like we talked about previous episode. I mean, our views are way up there, but our subscriber count is not going up. But our views are going way up, so it just doesn't make any sense. So help us out. Do something for us.
Yeah, and if you got constructive criticism or even not constructive criticism, let's hear it. I mean, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What could we do better?
Right.
What do we need to do to have you tell your friends to check us out?
Yeah, and what do we need to do to get that subscriber count? If you have any fucking miracle grow, that would be awesome.
I can do something for my head too.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
Yeah, let's wrap it up then.
Okay, that's it for this week's Rock Resurgence Radio. Keep the volume cranked, the fist pumping, and the spirit of rock and roll alive. We'll be back next week with more Sonic Mayhem. Until then, stay loud, stay proud, and keep fucking rocking.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really hope you enjoyed our content. If you did, please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. We'd greatly appreciate it. Links to everything we discussed will be included in episode notes. Feel free to check those out as well. Until next time, stay golden, Pony Boy, and rock on.